Okay. And we are live everywhere. So YouTube, Twitter. Actually, I shouldn't have gone on the Bacon DAO YouTube. I don't think, because that's kind of because it double pings in Discord. But yeah, whatever. We'll forget about that. Wait till a couple people come in. I don't see any pings yet. Let me just make sure that we're live. But let's check on my phone here. Okay, we are. Right, so it's just StreamYard, not to... Okay, yeah, it's lagged. Cool. So welcome everyone to another day's supposed daily stream right at 12 p.m. PST. I'm really trying to keep it right at this time, but it's a strict time. Maybe I shouldn't have said it right at lunchtime, but here we are. Yeah, today it will be a bit shorter yet again. So because pretty much the market is still behaving the same as we have been monitoring the past week. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance, pretty much all still the same, and all the major altcoins for TA, pretty much all the same. But there are some pretty interesting news around NFTs recently, and kind of a new narrative of altcoins starting to pop up. So we'll go over more of those today. Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's start off with Bitcoin as usual. So bring up a chart here. Share screen. Okay, and let me just make sure people in Discord, if things are good or bad, let me know if you cannot watch or if you cannot hear me or anything. But okay. All right, bring up trading view here. Wow, this is slow today. All right. Oh, empty chart. Here we go. Okay. BTC USDT. Come on. Yeah, so still watching the same buy zone, right? From 38 to 43K. This consolidation here. I'd expect the 200 daily EMA and the 21 weekly EMA to kind of starting to curve down already and meet where we're at. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, so still sitting right at a 200 daily EMA, right? And if we look at the 21 weekly EMA, because it has been 2 weeks now since this corrective period started, you see the 21 weekly EMA currently is at 43.4. So also within that range, right? Technically speaking, we haven't really closed below it. So far, so good. That's why we're still watching this, at least I am, this range from a buy zone with a stop loss right below 38K. Don't want to be too strict. There could be wicks to that range, just like what we had at 30K, but ideally don't want to see like 2 to 3 days of daily closes below 38K. So that's the bottom line. So far, so good. Still buying dips. And Ethereum, same thing as yesterday and the day before and the day before that. 2.9K is my buy range. And just watching... I'm just gonna mute you real quick, Lance. But yeah, don't have a stop loss for ETH by itself, but instead I'm watching Bitcoin, 38K. As long as that holds, I'll keep holding my ETH. Bitcoin dominance. Let me just adjust this. Yeah, so Bitcoin dominance starting to curve back up yet again, right? This is a new development today. So we have been watching this neckline at 42.5%. For specifically this case, if it happens where we complete a third right shoulder here. So shoulder, head, shoulder, right? This will give us a inverse head and shoulders, in which case, we can target a larger short-term correction for altcoins, targeting around 45% in Bitcoin dominance. So yeah, as you can see, this right here is starting to curve up a little bit more than yesterday. So be careful of that. If it comes up to 42.5, especially if it breaks above 42.5, I would expect a bit more correction in altcoins. Hasn't happened just yet, but definitely a pattern that we already should be watching. But even if that happens, my plan is still to buy dips on altcoins because, right, long-term Bitcoin dominance is still trending down. Ever since back here from January of this year, just major downtrend in Bitcoin dominance. So major alt season in the long term, followed by a bit of corrective period here, but trend continued downwards with a breakout retest and failure to get back, into a reversal. Instead, the trend is continuing down here. So very long term, we are still in alt season. So with that assumption, even if this short term move happens and we go up to test around 45% for Bitcoin dominance, that would still be just a deeper correction for altcoins. But still, I'm not going to be selling any. Instead, just buying dips. So that's Bitcoin dominance. Now we have our kind of altcoin plays we have been watching for quite a while, right? So there's AVAX, right? Still good. Entry around $55. Still watching that. The previous all-time high. We have Luna. Also still good, right? Right around $24 is entry if it goes there again. Algorand, right? Still around the entry, $1.70, right? The previous all-time high, tested 3 times here. So you get the idea. The whole list, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but pretty much every single one of them of the top layer ones we were watching for the past week is showing the same pattern, right? Breakout retest of the previous all-time high. So that's, again, just to reiterate, AVAX, Luna, Algorand, Elrond, Phantom, Near, Cosmos or Atom. Yeah, I think that's all the ones that we looked at. Harmony also, but Harmony is kind of lagging behind, so I'd exclude Harmony because it's lagging. So it's kind of a weakest performer in this layer 1 list. And I also excluded Solana because it's way leading, right? So it kind of it's already pumped too much above its previous all-time high that you really can't limit your stop loss, right? That's not saying it's a bad thing, right? It's a really good thing if you are a Solana holder, but it's just risk to reward kind of timing wise. Right now, it's already pumped so much that it's hard to limit your risk, so that even if there's even more reward, you can't really have a good entry versus the other ones that we just went over, which are just starting to break above its previous all-time high. So those are the plays I'm currently in. So, okay, a couple more individual altcoins. Let's go to CoinMarketCap here. So today there are some really good opportunities on Joel and Spell. I picked up more of both today. So let me bring ChartX here. And just scroll this down to medium respects. Here we go. Is it gonna load? Come on. Oh man, it's so slow. We can go through Spell first. Damn. Spell. Oh, let me type. Here we go. So Spell is the multi-chain, multi-collateral equivalent of MakerDAO and DAI. So this is like the Maker token, and their equivalent of the DAI stablecoin is the MIM, Magic Internet Money stablecoin. So far so good, right? Very consistent uptrend here, and we have been watching around $3 to $3.50 range for an entry. If it came back down towards that level. So yeah, currently sits at not $3, 0.36 cents, right? Got my decimals wrong, but you get the idea. I'm starting to buy more spell already. Yeah, so if I can bring up a chart for it somewhere, let me think. Dex tools maybe. Yeah. And chart text for Joel. Come on. Oh, okay. Works now finally. Joel. Joel. Here. Okay. So Joel has seen a pretty honestly juicy dip over the past day. I think if you don't see it so clearly on the daily here, right? So there's a series of series of higher lows here, right, in this uptrend, and bunch of higher highs. So this recent dip has touched the previous higher high already. In this kind of staircase pattern, if you zoom out to the 4 hour, it'll probably be even more clear here. Erase that, get rid of the volume. Yeah, so in this uptrend, right, every time that there's one of these corrective periods, there's a high and there's a low. So you see the following sort of correction, right, kind of just touches the high of the previous correction, right? So this is a really good pattern in a very strong uptrend. Obviously, in an uptrend, the absolute bottom line you need to watch is if the previous higher low here, right? So this dip, you needed it to stay above the previous higher low. Same as this dip needs to stay above the previous higher low. But usually in a very strong uptrend, the first sign of bounce can come from even the previous higher high, right? So when the next correction touches the previous top, that's when you can expect a bounce or a first level of support and for price to bounce from there. So you saw this happen at around $2.30, and now I would say around these highs, specifically this level here, $3.50, and this level here, $3.10. So bit of support here, bit of support here. So I would, because these two levels are so close, I would say within those two levels are buy range for me. So yeah, we're now in that range between $3.10 and $3.50. That's kind of my entry right now for Joe. So with that analysis, I'm starting to load up on more Joe. So that's that. And let me go on Dex Tools to do the same for Spell. Spell. This is actually number 2 trending. That's very interesting. Okay. Why is all the websites so slow today? Oh, I already have some levels drawn here. I think this was from yesterday. Yeah, most likely. So, yeah, okay. We can just take those levels again. So we had a previous all-time high right around 0.16 cents, right? And you see in the following rally, this is what you would identify as a strong rally, because every time that there was a dip, the low just briefly touched the top of the previous kind of consolidation. So the lows bounced from the previous highs, right? So first time that I did was around 0.16 cents. Next time there was a correction, right? It only wicked to this range, but bounced from right these highs, right around 0.2 cents. And then again up here, right, in this correction, this bounced from the previous high around 0.285 cents. And now we're seeing it again. So that gives the level right here. right? 0.35 cents. That's the top of the high of the previous correction, right? So expecting first sign of bounce to come from this area, and you see we are currently right around that range. So yeah, starting to load up around 0.35 cents for spell. And so far the bounce is looking pretty good. We have seen, obviously you can treat this as a wick, right? Similar to the wicks we've seen earlier, but didn't have any closes below this level. And then the second time that higher low was printed, it respected this level. Ideally, we want to see more higher lows being printed here, but so far so good. So around 0.35 cents is my buy range for spell. So that's that. Those are the two altcoins that we have been watching and accumulating that are currently in a good entry opportunity. But some new narratives that are developing, right? So first off, very interesting one is Twitter supporting NFTs. So this is actually very interesting. Let me see if I can find a good article on this. Twitter NFT verification. So this is how you know how on Twitter and all the social media platforms you have these blue check marks for public figures like your movie stars or company founders, etc., right? That have this check mark verified by Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, these platforms. So that represents kind of that account is directly linked to that public individual, so that nobody can impersonate that person because they have so much, their name and their brand is so big. Well, the latest news from Twitter is that not only will there be very similar to the verifications for the blue check marks, soon Twitter will start to add NFT verifications that's linked to your Twitter account. So you know how on crypto Twitter, everyone's using some sort of NFT profile picture, right? But usually, right, okay, you can do a signature or show your wallet and say, okay, I own this, right? And people can check that, right? There are on-chain ways. For example, if you provide a signature to show that you own the wallet and the NFT is in the wallet, then most likely you own that NFT. But there isn't one kind of unified way and built into Twitter and other platforms. Well, Twitter is trying to change that, right? So two major news. Firstly, they're adding tipping with Bitcoin through the Lightning Network on Twitter itself. And this is live on iOS already. But I think the much bigger news here is that they will add non-fungible token or NFT verification features to the platform so that social media avatars, right? Let's say you have only the top examples like CryptoPunk, right? If you're Jay-Z and you have a top CryptoPunk. But before, you use that and other people could use that, and you kind of have to debate with them and say, okay, look, this is my wallet. I can show that I own this wallet, so please take your thing off. Well, with this feature, now, if I have a CryptoPunk, right, I go through Twitter's API and verify my Ethereum wallet, and then Twitter themselves will provide a, I guess, a badge or something, but beside the blue check mark and say, okay, this is here are the verified NFTs of my Twitter account, the virtual bacon account. And you click into that, you see, okay, I have a top punk, right? So obviously this won't be supported for any sort of shitty NFT, right? Because that just kind of defeats the purpose anyways. But let's say they only roll it out for punks to begin with. Then all of a sudden this will get rid of all the other punk clones and people that are using punks without actually owning the punks as profile pictures. So obviously they still can, but for the same people that see the punk profile pictures and assume that, okay, that person owns that punk, now they have an actual very clear way to see, okay, there are only going to be like, I forgot how many punks there are, even like 10,000 around, right? Total of those verified punk check marks on Twitter, right? Imagine that. So this effect that we are seeing currently with punks, for just taking as an example, will only be amplified even more, right? With the top collections. So I think this is going to be a big news, because not only once Twitter starts doing this, I mean, think about all the other platforms that are starting to get into NFTs and have people talking about NFTs and have avatars and blue check marks, just like Twitter, right? You have TikTok, you have Instagram, YouTube, etc. So who knows? Maybe this will really catch up and then start to catch on. Obviously, the very big examples, right? Punks, Bakes, pretty much it. So take those as examples, right? I think this is something we can definitely speculate already, as Punk's floor will probably start to see a bit more of a rise following this news. And same as Bakes. So yeah. If you don't think this is so relevant to you, I mean, you can already speculate on Punk's price with fractionalized vaults, right? So this is a pretty, actionable trade in my opinion. But for me personally, I'm looking to pick up a Punk in the hunt for right now. If there are any dips, I will be buying. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is big news. I mean, I think many people will not be interested just because I don't know, they will only kind of try to dismiss it more and say, okay, look, I can take a screenshot and I can use that picture. Yeah, by all means, you can use the picture. You can use, just like my face, you can use my face as your profile picture, but that doesn't mean you own my face, right? That doesn't mean you are me. So you can use the picture, but that's kind of not the point. Is like, what do people see as my identity? Well, initially, right, on Twitter, a lot of people impersonate me, right? For example, on Instagram, to scam people. If I had a blue check mark, it'll be much more difficult, right? And if I had a blue check mark on Twitter, it'll be much more difficult. So imagine, instead of my face and my brand, it's I own a very significant Punk, right? And with that, people think, okay, I'm a NFT expert, right? By all means, because Punks are expensive and etc. So I'm sure big Punk holders, maybe Pranksy or Beanie, right? They probably have big scammer accounts, right? A large number of them impersonating them and using their Punk. Right now, there's not really a way to get around that, right? You can get a blue check mark for a pseudo anonymous internet account, but Twitter is never going to do that, right? So that's why I think this feature will be big, right? It's not really even related to how you can use the picture, but actually tying that verification and that NFT to an account that Twitter themselves are getting behind, so that if there are scammers, but the official one, for example, my account has this badge given by Twitter, then it will become much more difficult for people to impersonate me and use my profile picture NFTs, right? I think Punks is the best example for that. Okay, so that's one major news I think is very important to keep an eye on, right? And what else was there I want to talk about? Right, so another narrative that's really hot right now is bridges. So recently, you guys know there are lots of layer 1 protocols popping up, like AVAX, Phantom, Near, Harmony, whatever, Algorand, Luna, Atom, etc. Right? And Arbitrum is also a really good example. So there already has been a big need for bridges. Let me just bring this up. Create a new banner. Bridge narrative. So what do I mean by this? There already is a big need for bridges to, let's say, bridge your tokens to AVAX and trade Joel, right? So far, it has been working decently well. All of these chains will just support their native bridge. However, with more types of layer 2 chains popping up, for example, Arbitrum and Optimism, their native bridges are kind of shit. And especially with optimistic rollup type of layer 2s, when you deposit your ETH to Arbitrum, in order to withdraw back to the main ETH chain and trade for fiat, you need to wait for 7 days for what they call this what is it called? Dispute period, I think. So that's a big user experience hurdle, right? And that's why a bunch of bridge projects are targeting this niche right now. One significant outperformer so far is Synapse. So this one has been one of the first to solve the kind of 7-day wait period problem for Arbitrum. So if you instead use the Synapse bridge, you can go over to Arbitrum and go back just like pretty much instantly. So big user experience improvement, and there aren't many players doing this right now that are successful, right? There's Synapse, there's Seller, there's I don't even know if there's any other, but there's got to be a couple more that I don't know. But all in all, big narrative and big need for this right now. So this is why there's a big bridge narrative that's just starting like kind of the second half of last week. So projects to keep an eye on in this range. Again, Synapse, Seller, AnySwap, Hopper Protocol. If you guys can think of any like multi-chain bridges, yeah, look out for those. Also, new ones coming up. D-Bridge is another big one. Yeah, so new narrative. Definitely keep an eye on it. Synapse has already pumped like 3x in the past like 3-4 days. So I'm not chasing this one, but this will be a narrative that's very important for lasting 1 to 2 months, I'd say. So very early on in this narrative, whenever there are new projects in this niche, or if there are buying opportunities, I'll let you guys know. But so far, the top bridges that actually work in this regard have already popped off. So I wouldn't be chasing these, but this is definitely one to keep an eye on, because it's yeah, the need is real with so many layer 1 chains, all needing bridges. Okay, so that's about all of the content I've prepared for today. Let's just take some quick questions from comments in Discord. Please talk about Lost Poets. Yeah, Lost Poets reveal just started today. I'm still holding, right? I'm targeting like 3 ETH per page or Poets floor. I don't have a concrete plan as to how many I should mint as pages, poets, versus how many I should hold as pages. I'll probably just do half and half. Energy Web Token is a good project. Yeah, it's a good project. I don't know about Luxo, to be honest. It's been so long. They held their thing for the longest time. They held their ICO. Live BTC chart, we already went through it, so just go to the beginning of this stream and you'll see it. Our market price prediction. I'd suggest not using the word price prediction because it's confusing yourself, right? You might as well just say price target, right? What is a level that I will be happy with taking profits at, right? Because I don't know. I could predict it to be 0, or I could predict it to be 1 million. How is that relevant to anything? So it's not a price prediction. If you want to say price target, sure. I think around $10 would be fair. So that would be 100 million total diluted market cap for the project, which for what it's doing and for its position in the whole Kusama ecosystem, I think that's fair. That's a level that I'd be happy to take some profit from. But is it going to go there tomorrow? Is it necessarily going to go there? Is it going to stop there? Is it going to go 10x past that? That's prediction, and that nobody knows. So yeah, I don't have a price prediction, but I have a price target personally, which is $10 per hour market, and then I'll start to consider taking some profits, just based on its valuation. You had 4 pages to turn 2 into poets, and I'm thinking about feeding 1 poet, keeping 1 page. Yeah, I really don't know, to be honest. I'm just as excited and new to this as you guys. Yeah. Can you not teach me something useful? Just anything you can think of. I mean, I just went through like 30 minutes of it. I don't know what you want. Like, I talk about everything that I think is useful, the most useful only. Project backed by BSN. Yeah, I know the BSN guys. Nervos is I don't think it's a bridge narrative. If it is, it's a new thing they just brought on. They are a layer 1, right? Since very early on, and they're proof of work. So gaming NFTs like Decentraland and Star Atlas, and more importantly, some that haven't boosted yet, like what the fuck is poker? That sounds like just a show, but yeah, I mean, gaming NFTs, the projects you just mentioned, like they are already live and very big already, Decentraland and Star Atlas. So yeah, like at that point, the narrative is strong, but not necessarily those projects, right? So I don't know what to say. Like, it sounds like you want me to pump your bags, so that I'm not gonna do. Okay, moving on to Discord questions. Let me bring up chat here. Can you comment on specifically what you are doing with Yak and Joe? Yeah, so I am staking both in Yield Yak. That's it. I got blocked from your Discord a long time ago. Well, that's probably for a reason, right? So if you got blocked, it's most likely you shilling some stuff or you're spamming. Yeah, it's most likely why. We keep screenshots of everyone that got blocked and banned. Concerned strategy this week doesn't manage to close above 21 weekly EMA. I'm not too concerned, right? My level to watch is 38K. Do you know, can comment on gaming? Oh, hey, what's up? Aloha. Yeah, I don't know this poker thing, so yeah, please don't get into that. If I haven't heard of it, I mean, it's probably shit. So, but just the fact that, yeah, please don't refer things that it's always risky. So I much prefer that we don't talk about anything that is too new and I haven't done previous research on, because most people that listen to me talk don't do research. So whatever I talk about, they'll think it's good. And if I haven't seen something, then I pretty much will always assume that it's just a show and not talk about it. So I would prefer if I see you're a member in our Discord. So I would prefer if you just, instead of asking me to talk about it in the calls, you just ping me in the chat and send me like just one link to check it out, and I'll do the research, and then I can decide to talk about it or not. That's a much safer way. If you just put me on the spot right on live, then it's most of the time, I'm not saying it's necessarily you, but most of the time this is what people do online. It's like they hire these shows and then they go into other people's streams and say, okay, like, look at this is so cool, and then like they look at it and then that person's followers like think it's some sort of endorsement, right? So yeah, so we can I definitely look into it in the chat, but yeah, cool. Any pre-sale IDLs you can suggest? Not any at the moment. Yeah, not really. Any infos from China? What are plans for the current situation? Do I look like a party leader? What do you think about VET and XXP? Both good projects, but I don't know fundamentally, or not fundamentally. Fundamentally, both good projects. Technically, I haven't looked at their charts, so I don't know what their value at right now. So can't tell you. So you don't get unblocked. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what blocking is for, right? If you spam or if you send shills, like you deserve to be banned. So unfortunately, no. Yeah. Okay, so that's about it for today's stream. It is a Saturday, so I haven't seen much comments. Let's see. Yeah, I'm assuming just because it's a Saturday and people are out. So, I don't know, bro. Maybe you are in some whale groups or something like that. Let me tell you this, right? How large of a whale group size do you think they will have insider information on something Chinese government will do? If you don't have like hundreds of millions of dollars, you're not gonna know. So I don't know what kind of whales you think I am, and I don't know what kind of whales you think you see on the market, but I don't think any of us know anyone with net worth in that range. So take that thought out of your head. Nobody you know even publicly is that big of a whale to have that kind of information. So yeah, just get that out of your head. Like nobody is that rich that you know that will have that information. Thanks for doing this regularly. Yeah, no problem. It's been fun. Okay, I think that's about it for today. Check out the replay as usual. Just following. So, yeah, that's about it. I'll try to leave timestamps, and this replay will be up right after this call. So far, so good. Watching just a quick summary, right? Watching 38K for Bitcoin for the entire market. As long as it holds, it's good. So still, Ethereum is in our buy zone. AVAX, Phantom, Near, Luna, Atom, Algorand, Elrond. All of these are right around the previous all-time high breakout, so all good levels. And then we have Joel and Spell that are on dips right today and pretty much yesterday as well. So I'm accumulating Joel and Spell today. Lost Poets just dropped their reveal, targeting around 3 ETH. What else? Twitter NFTs. So this probably will drive Punk and Bake and the large blue chip NFT collections. Their floor price is up, so you can already speculate on that with fractionalized vaults. Yeah, and lastly, bridge narrative is super hot, so look out for those. AnySwap, Synapse, Stellar, and any new projects. I'll keep you guys updated. Hopper protocol, right? So that's about everything that we talk about, everything that's very useful, everything that I'm personally acting on. If you want me to talk about something else that you think is good, I mean, then that's not really me giving the best info, right? So yeah, that's what I think is the best info and what I'm acting on. So yeah, thanks for joining. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and tomorrow's call will be an hour earlier because every Sunday we do the Bacon DAO call. So yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.